Welcome to Here's the Takeaway. I'm your host, Kim Bindle, and today I'm going to be talking about a topic that sometimes can be hard to talk about. We'll be talking about grief, and I'm so excited to welcome two amazing people from Erin's house here in Fort Wayne, Director of Volunteers, Jen Hartman, and Volunteer Group Facilitator, Josie Peery. Did I say that right?
Peery, but
Peery.
I get Perry a lot, so it's totally fine.
Okay. Well, welcome to you both.
Thank you so much for
Glad
having
you're
us.
here. And for folks who don't know what Erin's house is about or what it's doing, can you share with us?
Yeah. So, Erin's House is a program for bereaving families and children. We often get confused. We are not a house where people stay,
Right.
but we do provide evening programs 4 nights a week here in Fort Wayne. We're actually located right behind the Y on St. Joe, and we kind of almost have a campus now, which is exciting. We have Erin's House that has programming for 3 through 18-year-olds and their families. And then right behind us, we just built the wing, and that will be programming for 18 to 25-year-olds, which is super exciting and completely brand new. We started here in Fort Wayne after the death of a little girl named Erin, and that was in 1989. And during that time, some close friends of her family really recognized that while her parents had the support of their church and their family and their community, her siblings that were younger than her really did not have the same support and access to resources. And so they worked together with the Junior League here in Fort Wayne, and over the next couple of years spent some time doing research and feasibility studies, and the response was overwhelming that the area and the community really would receive this notion of a children's bereavement center with open arms, and they have done that and more. And so I think by 1993, we were established and started like any nonprofit, moving around some church basements and different facilities. And we took up our home in a strip mall over at Park West until 2012. And that's really where we grew our foundation. Folks really received us very well, and in 2012 we did a capital campaign where the community showed up like in an unbelievable way. They raised $2.75 million in just 9 months.
That's amazing.
And that is really what provided the ability for us to create our forever home that we're in now. And so that community outreach and pouring into us has not stopped. It has continued, both monetarily and, supporting us, but also volunteer-wise. We provide all of our services at no cost to families.
Wow.
And, and today,
Yes.
that's a
huge.
big deal. Yeah.
That is huge.
A huge deal, especially during the time of a death in a family.
Yes.
And so taking that off of their plate is really, really life-changing. And I think we truly could not be where we are without our volunteers in the community. So,
Speaking of which, because you are over volunteers, one of your great volunteers is here with us, Josie.
Yes.
So tell me about becoming a volunteer at Erin's house. Did you kind of grovel with it just a little bit, or how did this come to happen for you?
Yeah, it's such a good question. My journey with Erin's house started in 2023, so it's only been a couple of years. My husband and I had just relocated to Fort Wayne from Washington, D.C. And while I was in D.C., I worked at a church and did children's ministry, so writing curriculum for kids who are learning about the Bible, and it was so fun. I loved being around kids. We don't have our own children, so knew when moving to Fort Wayne that I I wanted to be in the community. I wanted to serve some way, and I wanted to work with children. And I actually drove to my doctor's office, which is in this same little complex as Erin's house, and saw the sign and thought, interesting. I wonder what they do. My husband's an attorney here in Fort Wayne, and so he gets invites to a lot of different charitable events to represent his firm. And one of them was the Erin's House event, Wine for the Spirit. And so we got to go to Wine for the Spirit and enjoy a beautiful evening of fundraising for Erin's House and hear past participants and past volunteers speak about their experience and what they got out of it. And I just felt the Lord calling me to be there and to be present. And at first I kind of questioned my ability to serve at Erin's house. I have experienced death, but I also felt like maybe my grief was not good enough or meaningful enough, or maybe.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean, because I'm like, what grief is good enough?
I think this is really common. Yeah, I hear it from other volunteers as well. Like, well, I lost my grandfather, but that doesn't mean anything. Or I lost a friend growing up, but, I've worked through it. And I think what's so interesting is we've all gone through grief. It's not a comparison game.
Yes.
There is not one grief journey that's better than another or more meaningful than another. I lost my grandfather. He, though, stepped into a father figure in my life and really was the one who raised me. And I lost him years ago, but that grief has stuck with me. And it's something I feel and something that I think matters. And what's so interesting for the kids is when I share that, they'll often say, I lost my grandfather too. And I have that connection with them immediately. They're just looking for people who help them feel like they have a safe space, like they're not alone. And so I questioned that, but immediately walking in the Erin's House doors, I knew I had to get rid of those thoughts and just commit to it because it was incredible from day one.
Wow. What a great way to just drive up and you just knew that you had to be a part of that. That is so awesome. And we were talking about this earlier, especially when it comes to volunteers. Generationally, there are different approaches to grief.
Yeah.
And even, I just think even in this day and age, we're so fast paced in getting through grief. Like, people that mean a lot to us pass away, but we've got to go to work the next day and the world keeps turning. And so, it's not only generationally people have dealt with grief differently through the years, but also just structurally through life, and everybody's experiencing it. Parents are experiencing it, and kids are experiencing it. And how to help your kid go through grief, because kids do grieve differently than adults do.
Yeah.
Talk about that, Jen.
So we follow a peer support model at Erin's House. And so what that looks like is grief support groups with children in a developmentally similar age group as you. And so really as a volunteer, and Josie can speak to this as well, but you're really more of a guide from the side. And the idea is that we are facilitating this beautiful space to give permission to children to explore their feelings and use the tools that we're providing them in a healthy way and just connect with each other. We're living in a time where they are fully submerged in social media, fully submerged in the electronics, but we will never, ever have the connection through those means that we do by sitting with somebody who is like aged as us and touching our hand and telling each other that we get it. Yeah. I had that too, or my dad died as well, or I feel like that too. And so that, that's the idea, is that we're constantly putting it back onto the group. And we use a lot of I wonder questions at Erin's House. So, I wonder if anyone else has been angry about their person dying, and just watching that happen. We really have gone back to basics at Erin's House. What we're doing is not magic, but what comes out of it is magical. And it is really incredible to watch.
That is amazing. Josie, kind of take us through what that looks like. Like, you meet in the evening, right? Yes. So what does it look like? What is that whole start to finish for? And you said it's from 5 to 18? Is that the age?
3 to 18.
Okay, 3-year-olds all the way up to 18. What does that look like when they come through the door? What kind of walk us through what it looks like?
Yeah, it's funny. Jen and I talk about it a lot, that grief obviously is sad, but Erin's house is full of a lot of joy. And program night for me is always the most fun night of my week. I have a great time being there with the kids. They come in, they eat pizza with their families, and we really encourage that being a no electronic zone. And so you'll see families eating together and talking together and laughing and sharing about their days. And I know I've heard from a lot of the parents, that's one of the only times they really get to do that. And everyone loves a good slice of pizza. So
Parents
we
don't
enjoy
have to
that.
make dinner. It's a win.
It's really nice. And then group time starts with a very loud scream announcement of group time. All the kids head to their different age groups. And then the next hour is spent doing activities that are really age appropriate for each group. So your look in the 3 to 5 room is going to be very different than what goes on in the teen room. I've been most commonly serving in 6 to 9s. And that age group loves activity. They love crafts, and they love getting a little bit messy. So one of my favorite activities, we just did it last night actually on program night, is called Shredding Out Your Feelings. And we'll have them write down all the negative feelings associated with the death of their person. So anger, they're feeling sadness, things that have happened since. And then we walk over to a big shredding machine, and they get to put their paper right in that shredder and watch the little pieces of paper form. And then we head into what's called our volcano room, which is a padded room filled with pillows and tons of fun stuff. We throw the shreds everywhere. We throw them at each other. We just let all the anger, all the feelings out. So filled with activities like that, where the kids realize, I might have this anger, I might have this sadness, I'm not alone, and it's okay to have fun. I don't have to fill someone's place in my life right now, but I can keep being me. And then we finish every night with closing circle, where the volunteers come together, support one another. We talk about our wins, our challenges, and it's really interesting. I might have younger brother and maybe older brother is in a different group, and mom or dad is in the adult group, and we can kind of see the trends and what's happening in these families, just transforming their lives.
That is amazing. So good. I mean, because I almost think adults need that too. I know I would benefit from shredding some hurtful feelings and, throwing them in a room. That sounds amazing. And so when you have also a group for caregivers and for the parents, now this is not for them to necessarily work through their feelings. It's teaching them how to help their kids when they're done and they leave and they go home. Right. So what does that look like?
So their program space and group runs very similarly to the children's. They always open with opening circle, and then they follow a theme as well. And so the idea is that we're supporting guardians and important people that are in those children's lives who choose to participate, and it can be anyone. For example, if mom died and dad and grandma wants to come, that's wonderful. We want them to be there. And so they're experiencing that together, and they talk about what their children are talking about during programs. So when you get in the car and leave, we want you to feel confident and supported and prepared for the conversations that could come out on the drive home, and just have the tools that you need, but also leave feeling like you have a support network with the other people in the room, because everyone gets it. Everyone there has experienced a death, and so there's no weight of feeling like I have to share my story. They're not going to understand. We all know why everyone is there, and so just knowing that when you walk in the door is relief. I think. And then, like Josie said, sitting together and starting the evening with dinner, and then going to your spaces is just nice. It's nice and comforting, and everyone is welcome. So it does not matter the type of death that occurred, the manner of death. It doesn't matter who that person, the relation to you. It doesn't matter when it took place. Everyone is there because they have experienced a death at some point. Wow.
So it doesn't have to be a recent death.
No.
It's, if you've experienced it. And so what have we learned? I mean, I can guess because I am a psychology major girl.
Yeah, sure.
But what are some of the things that we've learned that when we don't have this kind of support happen to these kiddos as they grow up?
Yeah. So my journey into Erin's house, my previous life, I was a school social worker for 16 years. And so I got the privilege of having Erin's house come in and do school groups in my school. And so that's another program that we provide is school programming. We have a program called Identity in the Community that's phenomenal. We do crisis response. We have a lot of new things happening and ways to touch and connect with our community. But in my experience, I got to see firsthand how students and children lived life during the day at school when they did not have those tools and that support system. Whether it was behavior changes, outbursts, withdrawal, low, their grades could potentially drop, isolation, all those kinds of things, versus having Erin's house come in and do a school group, and you see children who maybe conflicted at recess daily all of a sudden become part of a group because they've both experienced a death and had no idea, and then now are looking at each other in the hallway or giving fist bumps because I know you know, right? Yeah, it's just that is life changing. Opening that conversation up and building those connections. We don't do it enough, and so we provide a space. Yes, and it's safe and it's open and we're ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
For shredding paper and throwing it. Having a good old time with it.
Yeah. And I want to say, too, I think it's really interesting to see the family dynamics when they first walk into the door on week 1 and the dynamics when they are done with Erin's house, when they kind of graduate into our more alumni programs. How transformative it is for each and every individual in that family. And oftentimes on week 1, I see kids that feel like their parents don't know what they're going through or that they can't talk about that person that died in the home or, well, I don't know, we don't really say that, or I've never really shared my feelings before. To kids on week 10 being able to articulate, this is how I'm feeling today and this is what I want to do with those feelings, and here's a good coping skill that I've developed. And being able to do that as a family, you just see them completely grow, transform, and it's incredible. Yeah. I have goosebumps talking about it.
I know. It's such a blessing. Real. That is, it's real. Yes. And that you can physically see it happening. And we talk generationally, we're seeing children being the example for their parents and grandparents, and just like, wow, you have taught me that it is okay. We take away the, historical feelings of like resentment and, because my feelings aren't being validated and nobody's hearing me and allowing me to talk about my person that was so special to me. Those are tools that you pass down. And so if we can start that now, it's only going to get better.
Yes. Yeah. And feelings aren't getting stuffed.
Right.
Getting up and out. I love that. And I'm curious, and I'd love to hear from both of you on this. When you think about what God is doing in your life, first of all, you said you were in a school before, and you made this switch. Talk about that spiritual switch. I'm assuming that you were like, God, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
But this is, talk about how that happened.
I needed a significant change in my own personal life. For mental health reasons, for being a better mom, for being a better wife. Being in the social work field in general can be a lot sometimes. Yes. And so taking care of yourself is also beneficial to everyone around you. We know that. And so this opportunity presented itself, and I got to have this really unique experience where the previous director of volunteers kind of led the way for me and spent time with me for several months before she retired. And that was an incredible, unique experience that really doesn't come around very often. And so I got to learn from her, and she also talked about her faith a lot and kind of what this has done for her. And I think just the idea of being able to breathe a little bit more and really intentionally seek out people with servant hearts to be able to place them in these roles. It felt right. And so it has continued to feel right. You know, I went from a staff of and children in a building of 600 every day to 10 full-time staff in this very, very intimate setting.
That's a nice switch.
Right. So, but I had no idea what that would do in my life. And so I'm just so thankful for them. And they have also all taught me just what it means to be like a very loving family, staff family, because this is hard work.
Yes.
And so every day I am reassured that this was right, and that the people that are pouring into Erin's house are unique and beautiful and giving, and just, they don't have to be therapists. They don't have to have the answer. We give you the tools that you need to be a guide from the side. They just are incredible for being there and being present, and I just feel lucky. You know what I mean? I feel really, really lucky
Such
to be a
great
part of
place
it.
to be.
Yeah.
I love that. Love
Yeah.
that. Josie, you alluded to it because you came from DC.
Yes.
And you just drove up minding your own business, doing something completely different, and you just knew you had to be in on this. What has that done in your heart as far as what God has shown you through all of this?
Yeah, it's funny. I work full time in the government space. I spend most of my days consulting with governments from around the country, and I have a lot of stress. I have a lot of things that go on in my day-to-day life, and giving up time every week to be at Erin's house. I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, I wish I could do that, but I'm just busy." It's a no-brainer for me. It's so easy for me to walk through those doors and know that A, it's going to be a lot of fun. B, I'm going to make a difference. And C, the difference is also within me. And I have had kids say things to me that I had never expected to hear out of a kid's mouth. And they're so insightful, and they have so much wisdom. And it makes me think of, Jesus reminding us to be like one of the little ones. And those are the kids that are inheriting the kingdom of heaven. And you just see things so differently through the eyes of a child. And watching them go through some of the hardest things that you could go through as a kid, and being amazing kids is incredible. I don't know if Erin's house is just really good at finding the best kids, but I've had nothing but incredible kids in all of my groups. They are just so good inside and out. And I think for me personally, it's a level of compassion, but it's also this level of being in community and being human that I think everyone could benefit from. And I just have to say, if you're thinking about volunteering at Erin's house,
I was about to ask you this. I was like, come on, girl, bring it.
I'll address the camera directly. I know maybe you think it's a hard place. It's a sad place. It's gloomy. I don't want to do that. It is not that. It is so different than anything you would ever expect. It is fun. It's exciting. It's energetic. It's some of the best friends that I've made in Fort Wayne since moving here. So sign up. Jen will tell us how.
Yes. Email me, jen@erinshouse.org. We're not fancy. It's just Jen. Jen at erinshouse.org. Or our website.
So good.
Yeah. There's lots and lots of ways for you to serve.
Volunteering.
Yeah, volunteering. Yes. We also have, I want to mention, Josie is a volunteer group facilitator, which we are always in need of, because we like to have at least two, a lot of times 3 adults in each group. But we also have babysitters because our programming does start at 3 years old.
Okay.
And so we have learned over the years that the family members with a 1-year-old on their hip,
some nursery care.
They need a little time. And so you can't really fully participate and be present with a little one. Yeah. So we have provided that. And so we have babysitting as an option for volunteering. We have something we call house parents. And so they're the smiling faces that serve pizza and cake. We have cake once a month that we celebrate birthdays.
Nice.
It's the best night.
It is. We give them all the sugar and then send them to their rooms. And so it's a great time.
Here, leaders.
Right. That's exactly right.
Have fun with these wonderfully sugared up kids.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's the best.
It is the best.
So great.
So yeah, there's different, and those are more flexible roles. Our healing journey program is a 10-week closed program, and so who you start with is who you end with, and that's on purpose and by design. And that's more of a commitment, but it is 10 weeks, and program is only an hour in the evening, one night a week, and so we just encourage people to consider and pour back into their community. And we are all craving connection.
Yes.
And especially connection after a death is so crucial.
And go ahead.
Sorry, Kim.
No, you go ahead.
You talked about the 10 weeks and the commitment there. And you might think that in 10 weeks, like, could you really get that close with these kids? Could you really make a lot of impact on these families? I was gone last week. I was in Texas for work. And the kids, when I was back yesterday, how was Texas? What did you do? We missed you. You were gone forever. So they get to know you really well. They open up very quickly. And that's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
It's cool and it's a privilege. Yeah. It really is a privilege that we've been invited into their lives during this time. And I think when I think about my faith, that is a big part of it. Like, what a privilege that we get to walk alongside you when so many people don't have that.
Right.
Or so many people just don't even know that we exist or that this is a thing, because we're one of those places that you don't really know about it until you need to know about it. But we need people to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And where to begin in grieving, because, you know, by nature, sometimes we do want to stuff it and not talk about it. And, you know, how to go about helping your children express their feelings without, you know, being sad all the time, you know, figuring out those ways to pull out all of that emotion, anger, sadness, confusion, all of those things.
Yeah.
But I'm so thankful that you all are there. I'm thankful for everybody who isn't in the room right now that represent Erin's house. And I'm so grateful to you, Jen, and to you, Josie, for being here today. Jen, for anybody who has any questions at all or wants to connect with you to figure out how they can get either involved, you know, giving or being a part of the big event coming up, or just have any kind of questions, is there a good place to connect?
Yeah. We have an email, info@erinshouse.org is really just a hub for even families listening. You know, if you are seeking something that you didn't even know existed until today, that would be a great place to start. And the person that applies to what you're looking for, whether it's donor relations or volunteering, or families that are in need, that person will get that email and respond back to you.
Fantastic.
So,
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you both for being here. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. It was a great time.
So fun.